The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect those of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Tug lightly on this bowl of mine. Well, my screen has seen some better times. Well, my buddy poked a hole, now my weed falls deep inside. Please tug lightly on this bowl of mine. You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiva grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio. Yay.
Right on!
It's good timing, actually. Welcome to the 420 Radio Show. I am Al, and with us today we have a group of people who have been doing a show on another network, who are coming to us here at Lifestyle Radio, and I wanted to hang out. If you were going to have a panel show and you wanted to get some questions about cannabis, tonight would be the frickin' night, tell you that much. Joining us tonight from the Pace Radio Show will be Al Graham, Alison Myrden, Kim Cooper, and Debbie Stultz-Giffin. Welcome.
Thank you, doll.
Thank you, Al.
Also, Marcel and Lori are here too. You know,
we're always here. We're like the doormats.
Yeah, the installation over in the corner.
I like to wipe my feet on Marcel's brain when I come in the room.
Part of the furniture?
Yeah, or the furniture.
Kinda.
Yeah. So, we're here. This is 2016. I wish it was 2013 today, to be honest with you, but it's not. So this is our second show of the year, and we're doing a whole bunch of new stuff here at LifestyleRadio.net. If you are listening, come on in the chat room. We'll answer questions. We'll take questions. We'll give you answers. We'll even tell you what to do sometimes. Well, Marcel likes to tell people what to do.
No, I just offer suggestions.
So,
and if some people I have to suggest they kiss my ass, then that's what I'll do.
So I found this thing that I was telling Al about yesterday when we were chatting. I'm going to play that, and I thought that it would be appropriate. Of course, my mouse's battery is dying here. I thought it would be appropriate, since we are all Canadian here, to listen to some Killing Time Band tonight. So that's what we're going to do. And
right on.
The first one is It's Always 420. This is the Killing Time Band on the 420 Radio Show with everybody from Pace Radio. We'll be right back. On the 420 Radio Show with everybody from Pace Radio. We'll be right back.
Alan! 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 Al! Alan!
When I awake, my clock says 4:20. I start my day
Mute button. There's a mute button on the chat page. You can just click that, and
as soon as you start hearing the music, you click there.
Yeah, and as soon as you start hearing that wonderful echo that I like to play with,
Yeah.
you know that we're back on the air. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are here with the folks who are with the Pace Radio Show. So I just wanted to officially welcome him to Lifestyle Radio and turn things over to Al. So he's going to give you a little breakdown of what their show's about, and then we're going to talk with the ladies and introduce them. And then the second half of the show, if you guys got any questions, you can call us, email us, Twitter us, or yell really loud. Maybe Marcelo will hear you. So,
Yeah, because I got good hearing, right?
super hearing. It's from the cannabis.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't yell too loud; it might hurt.
I'm going to let Al introduce himself and give you guys a little blurb about what he's about and what he's been doing and what the Pace Radio Show is all about.
All right. Well, thank you, Al, for having the Pace Radio Show come join you here on Lifestyle Radio. We really appreciate it, and we hope bring more listeners across the country and around the global world, being that the internet is global these days. So basically, to give you an idea of PACE, that stands for People Advocating Cannabis Education, and all of my joint hosts are well known for doing that. As far as the way that we've been operating over the last 2 years is, I put a lot of trust and credit to the joint hosts who have been with us over this time. They do a fantastic job finding us cannabis advocates across the country. When we were originally set up, up until now, for the last 2 years, we've always had a joint host in the West, here in Ontario, as well as one on the East Coast. And that's allowed us to reach to advocates right across the country. We're not, we don't want to focus just on the city of Toronto or the city of Vancouver. We want to be able to reach, from coast to coast, whether it's north, south, east, or west, and give a voice to people. Maybe we have well-known people. Alison, she's had Alan Young, the lawyer. We've had Paul Lewin, also a lawyer. We've had some parents who have been dealing with children, such as Alice Raspensky and Mandy McKnight, onto the program, and we've talked to them about their situations. So we try to get as much education out there and give advocates a chance to share their stories and the situations, and the joint hosts have done a fantastic job in doing that over the years. So, but as far as myself, just to give you a quick little rundown of myself, I know you're going to talk to all the girls about the things that they've been involved in. Pace Radio has, or not Pace, but Pace itself, it came together about 2010, and we've been doing a lot of grassroots advocacy. Spent 5 years doing cannabis documentaries in cafes between Peterborough and Belleville here in Ontario, and just going in there and doing them. And I have a sign out front that would say "Free Cannabis Film," in really small letters, the word film. And it helped attract some people in. But there were sometimes people who didn't know what was going on. They just showed up for dinner. And I get started, I'd ask them if they were going to stick around, and they say, well, maybe. And they'd end up staying for the whole night and watching the documentary and asking questions. So it was always nice to be able to reach out to people outside the community, people who otherwise may not have been able to learn stuff. Also, I've been involved with Treating Yourself magazine. Everybody's well aware of that, I'm sure. I was with Treating Yourself for 6 years and writing about the events that Treating Yourself was involved in, and as well as events that advocates were doing. I always felt it was important to share what other advocates were doing in order to get the word out. And if we share other people's experiences, then others would pick up from that and possibly do the same thing. And I guess as far as the personal end about it, I'm a patient advocate. I've got Crohn's disease. I've had it for 13 years. And because of the benefits that I have seen with cannabis, I had to speak up. I had to say something. I couldn't keep quiet. The stigma and the lying and stuff like that has just been too much. So, yeah, people got to speak out, and that's what we're doing with Base Radio.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing it, Al?
Pardon me?
How long have you been doing it?
I've been actually a cannabis advocate for approximately 12 years. I got my Crohn's in 2003. When I got out of the hospital, I basically went to a Mark Emery legalization rally at Kingston Police Station. And then I had an opportunity to work a booth with Treating Yourself magazine at the International Home and Garden Show at the International Center near Toronto Airport.
Yeah.
And I had thought it was just fantastic to be able to speak to people like that one-on-one, face-to-face, hear their stories and share your own stories with them. And people really opened up and wanted to talk to us. And I enjoyed that so much that I did that for several years, whether it was the International Home Show, the National Home Canada Blooms, the National Women's Show, wellness shows. And from that, it's helped get involved in more local grassroots stuff, where the Peterborough 420 or the Cannabis Day, and more recently, I've been involved with Canada Days, a business that does novelty products such as hats and flags and stuff. And in the booth, he's allowing us a section where we have advocacy, where we can hand out information to people who are looking for that, because we'll deal with people. Some people think a marijuana booth is going to attract 20-year-olds. Well, we spend a lot of time speaking to people in their 70s.
Yeah.
Recently, we had a conversation with two 85-year-old ladies for like half an hour. So it's reaching out to the people who maybe that wouldn't be involved in the cannabis community in any way, but getting out there and allowing them to actually, see something, educate them with old magazines, brochures, whatever it takes. Tomorrow I'll be there, and I got the battery all set up, got the laptop, and got my disc already, or the flash drive with movies, documentaries, 5-minute documentaries showing situations where children are dealing with cancer, autism, as well as epilepsy. And there was one other one. Dr. Grinspoon talking about schizophrenia, because so many people are worried about mental health conditions. So we can get that stuff out there to show people who wouldn't normally see it, and they can see a child that's going through seizures and listening to the parents describe what they've been going through, and then seeing the benefits of the cannabis in the video and how it can help the child. It's something that I found has been very, very powerful, and helps people change their minds.
Are you finding that more people are open to listen to you, or are they steadfast in what they believe?
We do occasionally run into some people who are resistant, but occasionally you can get them to look at it a different way. Sometimes you can only get them to maybe look at it as far as the oil, non-smoking ways. A lot of people are concerned about the smoking aspect, and a lot of people still think that's the only way that you can consume cannabis. So to be able to talk to them about non-smoking methods, show them a vaporizer, or show them recipes that are inside of a magazine that involves cannabis, it really does open their eyes. And even talking about topical creams and lotions and balms and all that, that's something that people are still learning, and it's going to be years still. There's lots of people out there.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people are. There's a lot of brands on the market right now, and some are good, some aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a lot of scams on the market right now. And one of the things that needs to be done is people need to be aware of that, because your everyday person who wants information on cannabis can get that information on the internet, but you got to watch where you get it from, because there's a lot of myths and misconceptions, especially coming out of the news these days, right?
Yes, and we do get people do comment about the fact that it is in the news all the time, and that helps them create some curiosity. And when you go into such a setting such as we are at, this is at a flea market. People don't always expect to see. This is a 8 by 24 foot booth. It's big. Some people think we're actually running the flea market because it is so large, but obviously we're not. We just got a big booth, and we're in there making a statement, and people are searching us out, and it's good. It's just something that I enjoy, and it was something that Treating Yourself got me into, and I continue to do it today.
Do you find that when you go to the events and stuff like that, where you have a booth, that the surrounding participants get upset about odors and things like that? I know Marcel went to an event, and you and Chris got into some trouble, didn't you, Marcel?
Well, no. What happened was it wasn't me. That was Chris.
Oh, it was Chris. Okay.
Chris all by himself.
Yeah.
But that was at the Multicultural Festival, and they wouldn't let him light up on the property.
Yeah, you'd think
it wasn't
they'd make
because
allowances.
of the smell or anything. It's just because he was going to smoke a joint on the property.
After specifically inviting cannabis advocates to have a booth there.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were fully aware that it was a cannabis organization that they were inviting to the Multicultural Festival, because it was our group, Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana Society, that had booked the booth at this event.
Yeah, we've received complaints at the flea market because of the smell. So, I don't like the smell of your cologne. You smell like tobacco. Right, so it all can, you can just throw it right back at them.
I don't like the onions that you ate for breakfast.
Yes, yeah, and over the years you learn, you take a candy or something, but you still have the smell on you, so the smell's still going to be there.
Yeah.
But hey, some people say it smells good too, right?
Well, you know what, my mom loves the smell. Yeah, Marcel doesn't like the smell at all, or the taste of it, right?
No.
Oh yeah. Some people, the chlorophyll, and some people don't like that. It's true.
No, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
no, neither do I.
Since you brought up Mum, and Marcel works with Deb as well, let's introduce Debbie Stultz-Giffin, who's been with us before. Debbie is one of the directors at Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana. Is that right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And why don't you tell people about you and how you got started and why you do this, Deb?
Okay. I was in the throes of being diagnosed with progressive multiple sclerosis when in 1999 my husband and I were busted for growing cannabis. We were both charged, went to court, very naively thought, and I would never do it this way again for the record, that our best route was for him to plead guilty to the charges, that we could pick up our lives, move along quickly, and unfortunately it didn't pan down that way. In 2000 I applied and was successful in receiving a Section 56 from the federal government that allowed me to have seven plants under cultivation that anybody could grow, anybody could tend. I was allowed to have 3 mature, 4 immature. I don't think there was any storage limits or carry limits or that sort of thing. But when Health Canada transitioned to the MMAR, the Medical Marijuana Access Regulations in 2001, suddenly my husband could no longer grow for me because he had a criminal record that involved cultivation of cannabis. And with multiple sclerosis, 2 of my symptoms were overwhelming fatigue and overall weakness, which certainly didn't allow me to physically care for the plants that I needed for my medicine. So subsequently, I went on to become a part of the Hitzig decision, or the Hitzig court challenge, rather. And in 2003, ironically, the very day that Health Canada were announcing that they would pry the lid off the Flin Flon mine in response to the Hitzig decision, several of us were signing incorporation paperwork to make Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana Society a registered not-for-profit here in the province of Nova Scotia. We were convinced, obviously rightly so, because here we are 13 years later, that the federal government had no intention nor the capability of forming a constitutional medical cannabis program that would serve the patients who needed it. And Mum has been involved in a number of things through the years. We've called press conferences. We've been involved in court support. We've organized a multitude of events, including our first annual John Cook Memorial Cup in conjunction with our 8th annual Harvest Fest in 2015.
Sorry, got distracted.
It's okay.
Yay, Mom.
So, Debbie works with Marcel and Chris Backer, who are also volunteers here at the station and help with the show.
Yes, and they both sit on our board and are quite heavily involved in the educational and advocacy components of the work that Mum does.
Yeah, and Marcel goes out and speaks a lot, as does Debbie, and all of our panel today. Actually, you all go out and speak. I'm going to turn my direction over to Kim Cooper, somebody who, funny enough, I seem to went to high school with. And Kim, why don't you?
You're kidding.
Well, it sounds like. It sounds like we were there about the same time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Well, you know what?
Let's hear some of the high school secrets.
Well, you know what? The funny thing is I don't remember much of anything from back then. Just simply because those were my Ritalin years. And
so was Kim one of your customers?
No. I don't know. Maybe. Were you?
I'm in the same boat as you. I remember very little from those years.
Well, that's why I was wondering who was whose customer.
Yeah. I was the skinny guy that used to sit down at the back parking lot by the stairs that sold doobies for $2 a piece. You remember him?
There's
I'm
a
just
good
kidding.
possibility we knew each other.
Anyways.
See, I knew it.
Kim, this is the first time Kim and I have chatted. Well, we chatted yesterday, but so please, I know that you're involved with a lot of things going on in Northern Ontario. Why don't you take a few minutes and tell us about you and what you do?
Sure,
I haven't forgotten about you, Allie. I'm involved now with Pace Radio. Basically, I got my whole start in this at a young age. I had epilepsy as a kid, and I was on a lot of narcotics, heavy narcotics, Ritalin. You got me thinking about Ritalin now. Oh my goodness. But anyways, I was on phenobarbital and Dilantin and all kinds of really nasty drugs that really messed up my growing up years and my teenage years and stuff. And then I found cannabis. And I found that every time that I was able to have a supply of cannabis for an extended period of time, I no longer needed those meds. So eventually I began smoking cannabis every day, and I refused to take the meds.
doctor confirmed with my parent at the time that I was doing the right thing in his opinion, and if it could get me off the meds and stop my seizures, I should continue. So that was my start in the world of cannabis, and it started off as recreational, but it led to an astounding medical discovery for myself at the same time. Later in life, I was diagnosed with some cancer, and I again turned to cannabis after researching it and the progress with cancer research and the effects of oil with cannabis oil with cancer. And it helped. It shrank down the tumor that I had, and I'm currently still fighting off that, but it's at a point where it's not an issue right now. I raised some kids, so I sat in the back bench for about, a decade and a half or so while I raised my family. But prior to that, through teenage years and through my young 20s and stuff and my youth and that, I was going to all of the marches and part of the cannabis advocacy. I was marching up and down on Yonge Street for Normal Canada when they got their start back in 1978.
I was walking up and down Yonge Street, but it wasn't for Normal Canada.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been in this for a long time, but I did take a break to raise my kids, and I still attended some festivals and marches and so forth through the years, but pretty much stayed low key. And when I got my second diagnosis with breast cancer, I felt it was time to stand up. As soon as that tumor started to shrink, I said, no, I can't stay quiet anymore. This is crazy. And I got back into it full steam ahead with both feet, and managed to start a little organization in the north called NOSER for Northern Ontario Cannabis Education and Resources. We just recently changed our name to Resources. I'm doing my thing up here in the north, and now I'm on with Pace Radio, and I'm enjoying every minute of it, sharing the good word about cannabis and how it is so good for so many ailments.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Last and not least, by any chance, my old friend Alison. And we haven't spoken in a while, but I wanted to introduce you and get you to tell everybody about your story. And then we're going to listen to a song that you had something to do with.
You're awesome, Alan. Hello, everybody out there in 420 Lifestyle Radio land. And welcome to our first introduction to the Pace Radio Show. Thanks for listening, everybody. So, Alan, my friend, I, as you know, have been involved in drug law reform and medical cannabis, etc., for almost 30 years here in Canada. And I couldn't begin to tell you, like the other people, what all I have done, because there has been so much. I have, again, my own website for people who are interested to know more about my work. You can find me at AlisonMyrden.com, AlisonMyrden.com. Check that out and pass it everywhere, people. Also, I speak and have for 12 years, Alan, as many of you and Al know, and Debbie and all the other people. Excuse me, I speak for a group from the United States, again, well-known drug law reform group, and cutting edge as far as I'm concerned, but definitely well situated in the movement, called LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Myself being a retired corrections officer and battling health issues similar to some of your other joint hosts here tonight, etc., I do battle chronic progressive multiple sclerosis, similar to Debbie, and I have been from probably about the age of 10, according to my doctors, and I just had my 52nd birthday, on the 11th of January. So I'm still on my feet, and my New Year's resolution this year was to only stay vertical, out of that wheelchair and on my feet. So just like the rest of your viewers or listeners and joint hosts, etc., cannabis has changed my life, Alan. And, a lot of people, I think, out there listening to your show feel the same way. And there's so much, as I said, that Al, Graham, and Debbie, and Kim, and yourself have touched on, as well as Lori and Marcel and everybody else, again, that works on your show. You know, there's so much that we need to dig into. And there's so much that we need to teach people about this plant and about cannabis in general, that it is endless, my friends. So please stay tuned. And the Killin' Time Band, again, are really good friends of mine, as many of you know. And I brought them into the movement over a decade and a half ago. And I see them regularly. I love them to bits and pieces. And because of that, they wrote a song for me. And Alan, I think I know what you're going to play. It's called Doesn't Make Sense. And if that's the song, my friends, then enjoy, because it is absolutely incredible.
That is the song. This is the 420 Radio Show. We have an echo, and we'll be right back.
This is Bubbles from the trailer park, and they're playing some fucking excellent music on LifestyleRadio.ca. I hope I didn't sound too nervous there.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
It's time for a change.
the frickin'. Hold on, Marcel. Don't you start.
That was coffee going over the keyboard.
No, it wasn't anything. No, you know what has happened now? You see, we're stuck in live because my mouse batteries just died. I can't move it.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
And yesterday, when Al and I was teaching Al how we do things around here, and my laptop rebooted because it was updating. So the gremlins, it was the gremlins. So anyways, I just wanted to take a second because my dog died on Tuesday, and the only reason I'm really bringing it up is he stayed alive for another 3 years because of cannabis. He had cancer, he had hip dysplasia, bad teeth, and he was 14 years old. And so I'm going to try and put a show together on canines and pets in general and cannabis. If you'd like to be a part of that show, please get a hold of me. I'm easy to find on Facebook. Just look up the 420 Radio Show and say hi, because it's, 8 years ago when I started the show, there were a lot of people out there talking about cannabis, but they were talking about it differently, and nobody wanted to talk about it publicly. So there was a lot of private conversations going on, and every now and then you get a patient to come on the show, or a professional grower or something like that. Over the last 8 years, the show has changed. It's changed drastically from a funny bone show with myself, David, and Brian goofing about and tormenting telemarketers, okay, to a lifestyle show, as it happens to be on Lifestyle Radio. We're about the 420 radio, we're about the 420 lifestyle. What is the 420 lifestyle? That's a question I wanted to ask all of everybody that's here, because it's a pertinent question. What is the 420 lifestyle? What is the cannabis lifestyle to you? We'll start with Debbie. Debbie fell asleep. Obviously, too many medibles.
Oh, she's on mute? Debbie's on mute?
I was on.
Go ahead, Debbie.
That happens.
I don't know where to start.
Haha, topic question.
Can I start out?
It just seems that personally, I'm immersed in all things cannabis, like probably 85% of my waking existence.
I'll second that.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was.
I actually have 420 on. I actually have 420 on my bank card. It's kind of cool. So.
You know what, Al? It's Alison speaking.
Yep.
I was going to say the 420 lifestyle for me includes, as Debbie was saying, every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
I did not realize that cannabis was like Debbie like it did for Debbie, going to become such a huge part of my life and a huge part of the reason why I do what I do. Again, I've been fighting in this drug law reform issue for over almost 30 years, and I've been lucky enough to have my partner in crime, Gary Lynch, beside me the entire time. But Gary, sadly enough, does not really incorporate the 420 lifestyle, so to speak. It's not really his thing. But for me, as I said, and for all of our listeners, Gary wears all the shirts.
Gary's like me.
For all the listeners, for all of our listeners, or most of our listeners, and most of the people involved in this show tonight, cannabis is a huge part of our lives, our daily lives now. The 420 lifestyle is everything to me. It's music, it's people, it's friends, it's medicine, it's fun, everything involved, Al.
And it involves not only ourselves, but also our family and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 24/7 thing for me, and as I said, I even have 420 on my bank card, so it just seems to follow me everywhere I go.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't. No. What about you, Kim?
Yeah, I agree with everything that everybody just said. I didn't, when I got back into this and I said, I'm going for it full force, I don't care, I'm coming out and I'm letting all my neighbors know how I feel about these things, and I'm going public and I'm going to hold rallies. I didn't realize that it was going to encompass such a large portion of my life at that time. I thought, I'll put together some rallies and I'm going to start talking about it. Once you do that, and you're committed to that, it does encompass your entire life. Everything you do has something to do with the cause or putting the cause forward and moving the effort forward. It's every part of you. It's in family gatherings. It comes up. Everywhere you go, it comes up. And you continually talking about it, and you're continually planning for those discussions and future rallies.
I've actually been told that I talk about cannabis too much.
Funny, me too, Alan. You know what, though, darling? I want people to know, too, that it's such an important part of our lives, but it's not the same for everybody out there. There are a lot of people that are still really uneasy, as Al mentioned, with the issue of cannabis as medicine, because they do not realize that you don't have to smoke it. So that is really important now to stress to all the 420 Lifestyle Radio listeners, is that if they are social consumers, hey, right on, I totally dig that. But if they're not, and they're medical patients like many of us are, then it's imperative that they learn not only that cookies are medicine, but cannabis is medicine, or cannabis oil is medicine in so many different forms. I've had everything from medicated pizza to medicated soup on back. So whatever you want to cook with, you can make it with medicated cannabis. But I want people to know that and for that matter, I deal with my doctors send me patients regularly that consume cannabis, because they call me, quote unquote, the expert. It kind of half in jest. But anyway, my doctors have been sending me a number of patients over the last number of years. And recently I actually am working with a stage 4 lung cancer patient who is taking cannabis oil in suppositories, because I had looked up as much as I could find about cannabis oil and lung cancer, and found a study and a woman's story from Australia who actually beat stage 4 lung cancer, this woman did, using cannabis oil capsule suppositories. So we're hoping for the best with all of the people that we introduce this to. But again, I want people to know that the 420 lifestyle might be new to some, but it's certainly worth investigating.
You know what? I know a lot of recreational smokers who are now calling themselves medicinal smokers.
You bet.
But, Marcel and Lori and I talk about this all the time. If you're, all cannabis smokers are medicating in some form.
Yes, they are, Alan.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't think that it matters what your reasons are for ingesting it. If you're ingesting it, you're getting the medicinal benefits, and you're balancing your systems internally. Your reason for it is irrelevant, really.
Yep.
Can I tell you, and Al, can I just interject for 1 second again, Alan? Mm-hmm. I just want people to know that, again, having myself been a retired law enforcement officer, I have run into this so many times with patients who do not want to get high from their medicine. Yeah. The same way they don't want to get a buzz from their pills. So it's, again, imperative that patients, whoever they are, anybody, look into the best route of administration for you. Just because your buddy smokes a joint and gets high from it and gets whatever he needs from it doesn't mean that may be the necessary route that you should take.
I take all routes.
100%.
I take all routes. If it's cannabis related, I take it. I just want to do a shout out here to Mama Hawk. She says hi, Al.
Who's that?
Mama Hawk says hi to everybody.
Oh, hi, Mama Hawk. How you doing?
Mama Hawk, how you doing, doll?
it doesn't matter what lifestyle that you're in. I mean, we've had celebrities on the show. We've had bands on the show. We've had patients on the show. We've even had a few law enforcement officers on the show. And it doesn't matter what lifestyle you are in, professionally or personally. If you're using cannabis, be it to relieve stress or actually medicate and alleviate other ailments, that's your business, and you should be able to. And I hope, and here I go into the whole Canadian thing, I really hope that our new Prime Minister, Monsieur Trudeau, keeps his word, because there's a lot of sick people out there who need their medicine. There's also a lot of other people out there who would like to use that as a medicine, but they're too scared. Okay, they're too scared. My aunt was too scared to help my cousin with epilepsy get medicine just 2 years ago because it wasn't legal in New York State. Now I hope she's going to.
My brother passed away from cancer almost 4 years ago now. He saw how beneficial cannabis was as medicine for me. He read report after report that I was busily posting all over Facebook about the benefits of cannabis with helping people with cancer.
Wow.
He had a general physician who was supportive of his cannabis use, and yet when push came to shove, he was terrified that a specialist somewhere would refuse him some form of treatment that may have benefited him, say morphine, if he was in extreme pain and the cannabis didn't seem to be helping it. So for that reason alone, and I can only blame that on prohibition, for that reason alone, he declined to use cannabis as medicine, and it was really hard for me personally to watch that.
Debbie, do you think they come down to that the person felt that it was because it was against the law? They felt that it was still against the law, even though it was legal as a patient?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That somewhere a doctor would look down upon him and refuse him something that he might need because of it.
Right. He was afraid that he would be precluded from something because he chose to try that option.
And you know what, Al? I mean, I don't think you would have heard this story. One of the other people that work with the station, Kelly, she was actually fired from her doctor because she took RSO in there, who he knew that she was on it, but she took it into the office to show her this is the real McCoy and prove that she was trying to do it right. And he sent her a letter saying, please don't come back to my office.
Wow.
Yeah. So
they could tell, like, he felt threatened.
I don't know. I mean,
ignorance runs deep.
What was that?
Ignorance runs deep.
Yeah, and this is
God.
This is a younger doctor.
Hypocrites, Al.
It's ridiculous. It's not just ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous.
You know what? They tell us, the doctors do, to turn to them for help and for relief. And I'll tell you, as a patient, I fought my way to get through to the doctors that cannabis was good medicine, again, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I knew then, by accident, that it was making me feel better. And I knew that there must be something to it. I'm not a stupid woman, but also, I mean, anybody in that position knows when they're feeling better because of something they're doing. I also, Al, again, as many of your listeners know, and Alan as well, and many of the listeners, again, know my story, but I took 32 pills a day, 2,000 milligrams of morphine, heroin, and cocaine, all doctor prescribed, until I finally got to cannabis. So I don't want to go back to all those pills and everything. So I can understand, again, the illegality was what kept me taking 32 pills a day, 2,000 milligrams of morphine, heroin, and cannabis, because they were all legal through my doctors. Cannabis had me just terrified when I first started using it.
Yeah.
Because again, I feared that people wouldn't understand that it was my medicine.
And you know, Marcel and Chris, I believe, went and actually spoke with an officer, didn't you?
We spoke with one of the RCMP marijuana experts.
Wow.
No.
We did it through Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana, and it was an information session set up that several of us went and educated the expert. And what they're trying to do is their goal, or his goal, was to go in and learn how to be able to tell the difference between legitimate medical use and somebody who's just doing it for commercial profit.
You know what, though? Honestly, I have to again interject. We at least have decided it doesn't matter whether people are consuming for social or medical reasons. They are hurting no one, and it is a consensual crime when they do purchase.
Right, but the issue that the RCMP have is that they have to enforce the law the way the law is written. And the way the law is written right now is basically medical patients are exempt. Their concern is the fact that when they go in and they raid somebody's grow up and they turn around and says, you can't touch it, I'm medical, then they want to be able to try and tell the difference. And we explained, you honestly, you can't tell the difference because any recreational user can go into court and say they use it for medicinal purposes.
Well, very good.
Nobody can prove it wrong.
They don't have that number anymore to call the government to check before they raid the house like they're supposed to do?
No. They don't have anything. Nothing.
It's because, and I'll give you an example, because I talk to a lot of the police officers and things, and we've even had it here in our little town. People sitting in front of Tim Hortons smoking a joint. So the police get called, the police go up, and the first thing the guy says, no, you can't touch us, we're medical. And so his response is, show me your paperwork, and it better be MMAR with valid dates for the injunction, MMPR, or a Section 53.
And having a cop that knows those things is a huge bonus.
It's an awesome bonus.
Yeah. But I have something to say that I want all your listeners to hear again, Alan, and that is the fact that we work with lawyers all across Canada and around the world, but especially here in Canada, who know that we as critically or chronically or continually disabled and ill people have a constitutional right to be able to consume cannabis. So in that respect, I think it was Marcel that was just saying they need an MMAR license or an MMPR paper or Section 53, whatever it is. All of those lawyers have told us to carry. Yes, I do agree. But at the same time, if it gets as far as court, anybody out there who's listening, we know that we will win if we have a medical note from our doctor. We don't need anything else other than the proof, not the proof, the
diagnosis.
Diagnosis, exactly, or even the word of our doctors on a piece of paper, on his prescription pad. That's all you actually need here in Canada. And I want people to be aware of that, because for 30 years I've been fighting, and I started off with that letter from my doctor on their prescription pad, and I went to a Section 56. Then I went to the I don't even remember all the programs. Every other program that's been through this country for medical cannabis, I've been involved in. And from the beginning, my lawyers had told me, if I had just kept that note and my original Section 56 that I really didn't even need, I would be much better off than I am today.
Oh, yeah.
So I want everyone to know that they have the constitutional right here in Canada, if their doctors are in agreement with the person using cannabis in any way, shape, or form. You do have that constitutional right, and you can fight it.
Giving the example of being prepared, and that's basically if you're using cannabis, whether you think you're using it recreationally or not, you tell your doctor that you're using it for self-medicating for whatever illness you have, whether it's PTSD,
disorder, anything. I agree.
Have your doctor write it in your note file that you're using cannabis.
Exactly.
I was doing this to my doctor, making him write particular things, including the recipe of what I use for my capsules, into my medical file.
Yes.
And one day he asked why, and I said, because if I go to court, you're my first witness.
Better believe.
And that's not by his choice. He's going to be the first witness.
If people do not tell their doctors that they're consuming cannabis, it's like anything. Anybody, again, who's listening, it's like anything. Your doctors, like you just said, Marcel, cannot stand up and support you in court if they don't know the story.
Exactly.
You have to be open with your doctors and tell them, even if it's for fun. Even you just have to say, I want to relieve my anxiety every time I come home from work. I'm anxious and I can't settle down. Instead of drinking a glass of wine, I'd rather consume cannabis.
Right. And a judge, and the advantage that you have by taking your doctor as your witness is a judge is an expert in the law. He's not an expert in medicine, and he will not overrule a medical doctor who is an expert in medicine.
Well, a judge is just a former lawyer. I don't know if people are aware of that.
Yeah, they have to have been a lawyer to become a judge.
Exactly. So
and our healthcare is supposed to be autonomous between ourselves and our healthcare physicians.
Period. That's exactly.
There should be nobody between us and our doctors, and this is the whole problem with this program, or any of what we've been discussing, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true. Very true. So we need to get back to brass tacks, and we need to alert our MPs and the government officials what we exactly what we want in this country. Because I'll tell you, every single one of us that's tuned into the shows like this, and shows that you have, Alan, on a regular basis regarding this issue, every single one of us has the responsibility to make this move and actually make it happen and make it come to fruition once and for all for future generations.
Oh yeah, when I got my license, that was, like I said earlier, get out there and speak up, and make it be as loud as you can be.
You bet. Somebody told me over 30 years ago that going down the path of trying to legalize cannabis would be the loneliest road I ever went down. You know what I did? I invited all my friends.
What a gang we have.
It's kind of like playing tennis, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, the back and forth is ridiculous.
I was going to say my thing I keep falling back on that I discovered when I was working with lawyers there. Oh God, is it a year ago already? Is that we kept pounding at the thing that the actual Canada Health Act of 1984, I believe it is, the primary objective of Canadian healthcare policy, quote, "It is hereby declared that the primary objective of Canadian healthcare policy is to protect, promote, and restore the physical and mental well-being of residents of Canada and to facilitate reasonable access to health services without financial or other barriers." Period.
Yeah, they do just the opposite to patients that need cannabis.
I didn't hear the exception for cannabis. I didn't hear that in there.
Yeah, there is no exception.
Yeah, really, eh?
Yeah.
It's just too good, isn't it?
Good listening, Al.
Paying attention.
Well, that's just the issue, though, right? They don't they say cannabis is a medicine. They leave it in the doctor's hands to prescribe, yet they don't treat it the same as any other medicine that doctors are allowed to prescribe. I mean, everybody's rights are up for grabs because you have to give, police officials disclosure on your health issues. I mean, since when did that come about with any other medication?
I'll tell you also, people, as we all know, I never had to pay for any of the pharmaceuticals that I was given for almost 2 decades. And
exactly.
That I'm buying cannabis and having to buy my own cannabis, I've been out steadily on a regular basis for the last 2.5 years. And that is completely and utterly egregious of our government.
And you know what's even more worse than that? It's not even our government that's failing us. It's the people who say they're there to help. There's a lot of DGs out there that are taking advantage of people still. So
I've had it all my life.
Yeah.
Had it all my life, Alan. Every single designated grower I had as made tons of money off my back. Let's put it that way.
Well, there are some out there that are doing good work. There are some out there doing good work, and there are some out there doing good work for their own gain. So
I'd like to meet them, Alan. I really would.
Well,
it's a shame that the ratio of good to bad has been teetered so far on the bad side.
You know what's really a shame?
I know. I got to a point where I actually, when it came to designated growers, if a patient came to me, they had to already have somebody already chosen as their grower, because you run into so much conflict, and you got into the middle of it.
Yes.
And I'd help them if they had somebody ready to help them.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you always got into the middle. Even when you set up, there were situations, where I know myself, I set up some people that, were really friendly people on both sides and stuff, but something always happened. And so
unfortunately,
if you had a friend, then great. I helped them.
Unfortunately, Al, that is why a lot of people are so closed-mouthed, and that's why a lot of people aren't getting the help that they need. I don't know how many people I know, at least a dozen people, helpers as I call them, aren't helping anymore because they've been taken advantage over and over and over. You help somebody out of your own medicine, and then they expect more and more and more and more. And then when you can't do that for them, then they start getting really disgruntled and quite rude sometimes. So.
You know what, though, Al?
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt, Alan?
Sure.
I'm sorry again.
Go
It's
ahead.
Alison. I just want to say, one of the things that patients like myself from the very beginning have been fighting for, and again, I'm one of the first 20 licensed patients in the country, so I've been doing this again a very long time. I suffer from this absolutely excruciating pain in my face and head that has been unbearable the last number of years because the government and the country cannot get this issue straight. I lobby our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, 12 times a day, every time I'm on the internet. I write him and I send him things and I tell him again, patients matter and we are suffering. So something has to be done. Again, Al, I'm all for the 420 lifestyle, but truth be known, I want patients to be helped first and foremost, and then I'll be happy sitting back smoking a joint with my friends that smoke for other reasons that maybe aren't as medically, imperative as some of us deal with.
Can I ask a question of everybody? Are we still allowed to call it a joint? Sorry.
Well, yeah.
Being an ass.
Why not?
Of course. What else would we call it?
I don't know.
I used to, with my kid, I used to have the difference between a smoke and a cigarette because I used to smoke both, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, smokes and cigarettes, but yeah.
I do usually call it a cannabis cigarette or a tobacco cigarette, but I just, again, it depends on who I'm talking with, and, I don't want people to think that.
How about calling it a medicinal or a flammable medicinal delivery system?
There you go. and on that note,
I myself am a bong girl, so you go.
I'm a joint guy. I always have been. I always have been a joint. But I'm learning how to do the dabs and the bongs and all that too. We're going to take another quick break and listen to some Chris Backer. Chris Backer has recorded a new tune for us this week.
Right on.
And we'll be back after we listen to some news. This is the 420 Radio Show. Come on in the chat room. Say hello at lifestyleradio.ca or lifestyleradio.net, or tweet us or Facebook us or radio.net, or tweet us or Facebook us or,
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
This is Chris Backer, and thank you for joining me on the 420 Radio Show. This is your 420 seconds of news. And out of Germany, the German government begins growing medical cannabis in some of the most significant international cannabis legislation of 2015. Germany approved the creation of a special government agency to oversee the production of medicinal cannabis in the European nation. This progressive move puts the German government in the business of producing and making available high-quality medicinal cannabis via safe access to thousands of its severely ill citizens. This paves the way for the first cultivation of medicinal cannabis in Germany, wrote the German Hemp Association. In a press release which continued, this helps not only patients, but allows new economic prospects for Germany. The legislation does not, however, allow individual Germans to grow their own cannabis medicine. It also limits the legal availability of cannabis to very small groups of patients covering only 2 ailments. A shocking reality for the German government for those in the United States is that it covers the costs of legal cannabis under health insurance for all patients. They plan to produce and make available cannabis medicine to 2 primary groups of patients, the terminally ill pain patients and those with hyperactivity disorders. While in Canada, Trudeau wants to legalize weed but claims that they won't let him. At a press conference in January 13th in Toronto, Trudeau outlined the 2 main reasons he thinks cannabis should be legalized. First, he cites protecting the youth. The current system of prohibition does not protect our kids from easy access to cannabis. He also wants to kill gang and criminal activity. Criminal organizations and street gangs are making millions upon millions of dollars in profits from the sale of cannabis. Now, Trudeau has said his efforts have hit a snag, and this is international treaties. There are 3 specific treaties that he speaks of. The treaties are the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, the Convention on Psychotropic Substances, and the United Nations Convention against the illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. All 3 of these conventions date back to the early 60s, 70s, and 80s. Canada had made a reservation to the second treaty a few years ago about permitting the use of peyote for magical or religious rites by a small, clearly determined groups, mimicking a move made in the U.S. years earlier. Also in Canada, the mandatory minimum drug sentencing laws are in the spotlight again, thanks to rights advocates. Rights advocates made an oral argument in Supreme Court of Canada in a case that challenges the country's mandatory minimum sentencing laws for drug offenses. This case centers on Joseph Ryan Lloyd, an addict from Vancouver's downtown east side, who was convicted of drug trafficking after police caught him in 2013 with less than 10 grams of combined illicit drugs. The Pivot Legal Society says mandatory minimum sentencing laws prevent judges from taking into account factors like poverty and addiction when sentencing. It says minimum sentences hurt low-level offenders the most. Let judges make the decisions that are best for the public and the best for the circumstances of the offense, said Katrina Pacey, the executive director of Pivot Legal Society. It's really not for Parliament to be creating these minimum standards that, in fact, end up having the most detrimental effect on the lowest level offenders. I guess we can thank he who shall not be named for Bill C-10 and those mandatory minimums. There we go. Also want to bring to light the fact that cannabis prescriptions are eligible for an eligible medical expense, the Canadian Revenue Agency confirms. With it being tax time, it was important to let everybody know that the Canadian Revenue Agency has confirmed that medical cannabis purchases under prescription is an allowable medical expense at tax time. The Canadian Revenue Agency sent a letter to the Canadian Medical Cannabis Industry Association last month confirming cannabis from a licensed producer qualified as a medical expense. Now, the fact that it wouldn't also qualify as a medical expense when you've got to grow it yourself and pay for the power and the food and all the other equipment that's required makes no sense at all. But, hey, that's the government. We don't get to make those decisions. Also in the news, at the border, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents found $500,000 worth of cannabis disguised as carrots this week. On Sunday, they stopped a tractor-trailer at the Far International Bridge along the Texas-Mexico border near the Gulf of Mexico. Mixed in with real carrots, they found more than 2,800 orange carrot-shaped packages. I guess that could have gone really wrong, huh? Inside those packages were nearly 2,500 pounds of cannabis with a street value of nearly $500,000, the official said. Well, this has been the Cannabis News. Thank you for joining me on the 420 radio show. And this was
My work
Chris
on
Backer.
Twitter
See you next week. Have a
is
great day.
from the boys, Adam Levine.
I'd love.
Yeah, he's been following me for about 5 years now.
All right. Wait, there we go. Now we're back. This is the 420 radio show. And as we were talking off break there, that was the news. That was Chris Backer. Thank you, Chris. Chris will be doing the news with us every week. And he just records a little segment just before the show, and then we play it. And sometimes he comes and does it live. It's fun when he does it live, because then we can fuck with him. So I'm sitting here talking to our pal Electropig, and he's got a whole different outlook, would you say, on things?
You bet.
That's about. I guess that's the way to do it. So he's trying to fix his mic. We're trying to get him to call in. And while we're working on that, we're just going to continue our conversation. But if you want to ask a question, look up the 420 radio show. Do a hashtag. You'll find us. Come in the chat room. Just click on the chat thing there. Going to make up a pretty little graphic for the live shows so that you guys can see where to go and go into the chat room and stuff like that. It is an audio-video chat room, but at the moment we're not using that. So what else can I tell you? We are here every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on LifestyleRadio.net. You can also hear us on TuneIn, and you can find us listed on Shoutcast Radio as well, which is, I believe, shoutcast.com. Laurie and Marcel, do you have anything that you want to interject into what we are doing before we let the beast have its way with us?
No, I want the beast.
Bring on the beast.
I'm the devil's advocate, so I'm waiting for the beast.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, so...
I know what his argument's going to be, and I'm going to throw the wrench into it.
Oh, leave it to Marcel to come with a bucket full of wrenches.
Fucking right.
And a devil's advocate? I'm shocked.
Yeah, not me. Not me.
Like someone accusing Al of being a news junkie recently.
Who said that about me?
Whoever would get such an outrageous idea as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's an advantage to being able to sit on the fence and see both sides, because then you can pick apart everybody.
Well, that's a different advantage of being able to see both sides. Oh, my.
The oinker is here.
We are having noise.
We are having oinker noise.
Oinker noise. Say everybody.
I better shut this off.
Yeah. So this is Electropig. Electropig comes and harasses me on Twitter a lot. He is an advocate here.
That's my job.
In Canada, and he is very, very, very strong-willed and outspoken.
Yes.
So,
just to prove that, I have a nasty cold, and I'm still here.
So,
it's like yesterday, I felt like I was snorting hagfish or something. It was disgusting.
on the show with us, Pig, I don't know if you were actually listening or not. Alison Myrden is here, and Debbie Stultz-Giffin.
Hey, Al, how you doing?
And Kim Cooper is here, and Laurie is here, and Marcel is here, and even Al Graham is here.
Oh, we got all the troublemakers. This is going to be fun.
Now you're talking.
So, buddy,
talking our language.
You sounded quite upset on Spreaker. You want to elaborate? We were chatting earlier, and Electro was sending me nasty messages about Mr. Trudeau.
Yes.
Oh, the legalization bandwagon.
Oh man, it's like, didn't I tell everybody how many years ago that if we don't have enough brains their balls to repeal cannabis prohibition, that we're going to keep it forever? I mean, how many times do we have to get these bullshit promises from these political liars that get our hopes up, and then we give them a job, and then they say, change my mind.
Well, if you can't believe the politicians, then how are you going to believe a politician that tells you they're going to repeal prohibition?
Exactly.
So
the issue isn't really that, because now the latest articles coming out that are being well flaunted on U.S. media is Mr. Trudeau's supposed backing down from the legalization because of international treaties.
Bullshit. I call bullshit.
History has already shown us that Canada has no issues of breaking treaties. They broke a Mechanic treaty in 1752, and it was only days after it was written that they broke the treaty.
But we're already in violation of said treaty with our medical program. So that's it can't have it both ways.
Allison, let me just interject here, my friends, because two things are happening. One, we know again that you're right, Electropig, that really the government is telling us stories in so much that the UN is stopping them from legalizing this issue, because that is not correct. You're right. But secondly, getting back to your fight, and this is what I've said to you, my friend, for decades. And you know, we constantly go back and forth about this. I do not want cannabis completely repealed and the laws in the country completely repealed for one thing and one thing only. I do not, I repeat, do not want to see children the age of 10 or 12 years old walking up the street smoking a cannabis cigarette. I'm sorry, but it's the same thing as I wouldn't want them to be drinking alcohol, and I wouldn't want to see them with a tobacco cigarette. As speaking as a retired corrections officer and somebody who worked with young offenders, I know that young people do not need those substances made so available that anybody and everybody can be using them.
I agree with that, Alison, but also I have to bring up a point about places like Italy and such, where things like wine and beer and all of that is legal. Like, there are no laws. Kids drink it if they want to, but you don't see 12-year-old kids walking up the street with a bottle of wine.
No, but it's a different lifestyle here, Kim. And in Europe, wine and alcohol are treated a lot differently. They're a little more, sort of free reign. It's with every meal, and it's a happy time and everything. But I think the children see that it's an adult beverage. I don't think that children are, old enough to really make up their minds, if they're offered a cannabis cigarette, to say, no, sorry, I'm not interested. I really don't know too many children who would say no when pressured by their peers.
Absolutely. We're not there yet in cannabis, but I hope someday we will be there to where it's an everyday herb.
The only way that it'll be an everyday herb is to actually remove it from the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act and repeal the laws. And the reason being is, and this was proven with alcohol when they removed the alcohol prohibition. You had an increase in usage, with the difference being that alcohol is addictive.
And alcohol was also legalized and regulated, my friend.
Right, but when they removed the prohibition of alcohol and allowed people to have it again, there was an increase in usage, which lasted a few years, and then that dropped off. And the same thing would happen with cannabis. You'd have an increase of usage because everybody'd say, oh, we can have it, well, let's go do it. Then they would realize that this isn't really all it's cracked up to be when it's no longer illegal.
But you're not
exactly how it's going down in Colorado right now.
And that's exactly how it's going down in Portugal.
But you're not finishing your thought again, because again, when alcohol was repealed, when alcohol prohibition was repealed in the 1930s, it was again because it was legalized and regulated. That was the issue, and that's what made it safe for people across the country to consume and have it regularly.
It was legalized and regulated because they realized they could make profit off of it.
Hey, you know what? They're doing it to us with cannabis, my friend. So
that's right, but they shouldn't be. Cannabis isn't the same as alcohol.
No, not even close. They're still
The biggest problem we have with cannabis being on the Controlled Substance Act is we can't have viable industry using hemp. And the reason being, it's a pain in the ass to be able to grow hemp in this country.
But you know what? Canada is one of the only countries in the world where you can grow hemp legally.
China grows hemp, and France never stopped.
Exactly. I said one of the countries in the world. But my point again, my friend, is that we need to protect our children. And that
But what?
I'm not just talking cannabis. I don't just, again, even though this show is about the 420 lifestyle, I tend to, work under a bigger umbrella, as most of you, again, are very aware. I like to kind of, sort of take everything and put it all in one basket, because there's no difference to me, really and truly, between cannabis and some of these other drugs that, are, again, made available, on the street, to young people, etc.
Hold it. Stop. Let me stop and interject. You said you don't find any difference between cannabis and the other drugs available on the street?
I said my feeling is that I don't separate them because, again, as a retired law enforcement officer, I'm trying to take the entire umbrella of illegal substances and do something with them all at once. I don't want to regulate cannabis, then regulate heroin, then regulate cocaine, then regulate methamphetamines. I want to do it all in one fell swoop. And the reason being, Electropig and everybody else that's listening, is because, again, there are far too many deaths and overdoses if we don't do it this way.
Not from cannabis.
Yeah, but no,
There's
again.
no deaths or overdoses from cannabis.
I agree. There's no
The issue with kids using cannabis is the fact that I'd rather have a kid smoking a joint than drinking or taking Ritalin.
And if it came right down to it, I agree. If that child had a doctor's permission, I'm all for it again, my friend. But I do not want to see young people just smoking pot for the fun of it.
But the problem we have is we can't get doctors to sign for kids because they have the same attitude that you have right now, saying that kids shouldn't use it.
Not true, because we are educating those doctors to that very fact that children that are medically approved need to have choice again. So nothing's different, Electropig. Nothing's different, my friend.
That's actually Marcel. That's actually Marcel you're talking to.
No, actually, you have given us the solution right then and there. From my perspective, I understand exactly where you're coming from for two reasons. One, because you explain your position very clearly. And two, because you give awesome hugs, and I'm an ass kisser.
I adore you, darling. No, we discuss.
Yeah. But anyways, I think the first thing we have to do is we have to lay a foundation. In order to lay a foundation, we've got to dig a trench. And the majority of people in our political offices, they want to put the peak on. There's still no shingles. There's still no roof. There's still no walls. There's not a hole in the ground. And they're worried about putting a nice corporate peak on top of everything. So what we have to do is we have to look at the foundation. The foundation is we get the rights restored for responsible adults, be it recreational or be it medical. Now, then we have the medical problem is solved. Now, in order to do that and to address the problem or the perceived problem of children's access, all we have to do is say we are repealing for adults, at or above the age of majority. And we can put in a stipulation that, existing restrictions as per the alcohol model should be enforced unless the minor has a certified medical authorization and is supervised by a parent, however they want to word it in legalese. And that's that. We're done.
But you know what, though, Electropig, we're pretty much asking for the same thing, my friend. The only difference is I'm a government employee, being a retired law enforcement officer, so yes, I do in some respect want the government involved. But also, I feel that, again, we're asking for pretty much the same thing, because now, for the first time ever, I've heard you agree with me and say that children should not be walking up the street and being able to have open-ended access to not just cannabis, but again, I'm talking all substances. I know the show is, again, just about cannabis, but I want people to understand I work with a bigger umbrella and under a big umbrella, in so much so that every single substance is what I think about every day.
Huh.
And that's all fine and good. I mean, I don't really think about heroin every day. Because,
no, I don't either. No.
See, my friends, again, I've had these substances, and I know that they are deadly. And I know that I don't want any young people I know getting involved in any of these substances.
That's going to happen anyway.
Right, but I know enough to differentiate cannabis from those substances and don't group them the same.
Yeah, I have a real problem with even lumping them together in a group of any kind. I don't think they should be put together at all.
Yeah, it's a prohibition idea.
But you know what? Check out leap.cc for those of you who are in question with this, and just see what I'm saying and see why. Again, the harder the drug and the more trouble we have with it, the more it has to be legalized and regulated. Again, that's a whole nother show, but
that's a different fight. That's a different fight. I mean, cannabis being used recreationally and medicinally and everything else is a completely different fight than people with addictions to heroin. That goes to addiction resources and stuff like that. I don't think it's the same fight as what we're trying to fight for with cannabis. I don't see it being the same thing.
Everybody forgets that cannabis was made. The reason why cannabis was made illegal, and it was because of the industry. It wasn't because it got you high, and it wasn't because it got you healthy.
Yeah, no,
it was because of the industrial.
That's very true.
Cannabis actually has.
Names like DuPont and Hearst come to mind.
Exactly. Yeah. And the problem that we have now is that prohibition that they used to make it illegal is so ingrained that everybody lumps cannabis with all of the other drugs that are out there when they shouldn't be there because it should never have been placed on the CBSA to begin with.
But see, let me tell you though, cannabis does have some mind-altering properties in it, so therefore it was put in places like the CDSA so that people wouldn't have complete and total access to it. Because again, we all know it went through the series of Reefer Madness. It was driving people crazy. It was making people murder, supposedly, all of which was untrue. Bottom line, as I said...
if it was untrue then, how can it be true now?
It's not true. That's right. What I'm saying. It's not true at all. And that's what we know, is that it's not true.
Then why group them together?
Because what I'm trying to say is not just so much cannabis, again, but cannabis does have issues like alcohol and tobacco. And, you know, I mean, I have friends that say it's as non an issue as coffee, you know, that it's non-addictive and that it shouldn't even be, again, they're fighting your same fight. So I, again, am very aware of all of these things. But again, as a retired law enforcement officer and as somebody who worked with young people in jail, I just can't fathom seeing them get into trouble with cannabis again and having problems with cannabis or any other illicit substance.
If cannabis was legal, they wouldn't get into trouble.
Exactly.
And
it should all be a health issue and
it certainly
nothing to do with law enforcement.
They all should. I agree. They all should. But you know what? Law enforcement now are trying to say we don't want to be involved in this issue the way we have been, and we're trying to take, you know, responsibility to, you know, again, pass, you know, the torch on to somebody who can, you know, find out the exact answers that we need. We work very closely. As many of you know, I also represent patients in Canada at the International Association for Cannabinoid Medicines. All of these things. I work with doctors and scientists all around the world, and all of these issues cannabis and all of these other things have been used as medicine. Again, I've had heroin, I've had cocaine myself as medicine. I do not ever want children getting a hold of those substances. But I also, again, my personal opinion is that I don't want children having cannabis and getting the delirious effects that come with that. If, for instance, they get too much, or, you know, we all know what it's like to have a bad, you know, trip with whatever it is that you're smoking at the time. God forbid if that's a child. You know, these are the things that concern me.
You mind if I give you a little story from my past way back about 35 years ago?
Go ahead, doll.
When I was about, well, it was grade 9, so I guess I would have been about 13 or so. There's a guy, he's dead now, so I don't have to worry about withholding any information. A guy named George. He used to find booze for us. Wasn't a problem. It was considerably more difficult to find booze back then.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, he got caught. And, well, he found a guy who could get him weed. Well, after a little while, strangely enough, he got caught. Well, the cops made sure to let him know in no uncertain terms that if, you know, this is an illegal substance, so you're going to do the same amount of time whether you've got, you know, heroin or acid or whatever else. So you might as well just deal with the stuff that's going to make you the most amount of money. So as far as he was concerned, the cops were the ones that convinced him to stay, you know, to not worry about anything other than making money. And it didn't matter whatever he could get a hold of, you know, towards the end of his life. Well, actually, the last few years of his life, he'd blasted his heart. He'd gotten into crack and all that stuff, and he had destroyed his body. That's why he's dead. But the fact of the matter is, none of the kids that, you know, back then in high school, none of us wanted anything else. You know, we would have been happy with just a little bit of a buzz. That would have been fine.
Good point.
So what we have is the prohibition of everything means that everything is going to remain available.
Yes.
Because the only thing people are going to care about, as far as the pushers are concerned, is making the most amount of money, because eventually they're going to get caught. Now, if we were to repeal cannabis prohibition today without any, you know, concerns about any of the other stuff, it's going to be it's going to be a really hard sell for anyone to say, okay, let's find a way to classify and regulate and create recommended dosages and all this sort of stuff for all of the other garbage that really the vast majority of people have no interest in anyway.
100 years of damage can't be undone overnight.
But can I interject now and say just something quickly? Patients like myself, Electropig, who have been suffering from excruciating pain for a number of years, can't wait. We cannot wait for this to be an issue any longer. So what we are doing is, like everybody, trying to fight for what we know best. Again, I am a retired law enforcement officer, and that is what I know best. And having a family full of everything from CSIS agents to RCMP to drug squad police officers in my family, I literally know this issue upside down. I, again, have always had issue with every drug under the sun that has been kept from us. You know, again, I can see there's good things. I just posted a story today, way off topic, about LSD. It was something I actually did on a forum called TOK, T-O-K, and I answered a question about whether or not LSD should be legalized for studies and for possible use as medicine. And all of these things are so important to me as medicine that that's what I do first and foremost. It's not so much about the social consumers, because again, I know that everybody will benefit once everything's resolved. Everybody will benefit. We know that. The Normal Women's Alliance, of Canada, Normal being the national organization of the reform of marijuana laws, a few of the young women there spoke personally to Justin Trudeau and actually told him what exactly he is saying out in the public now. They told him that he had to, in no uncertain terms, legalize and regulate to save the children. And again, we're not talking about children with medical issues. We're talking about the general population that are the ones that are listening now. People that aren't, people that are battling, critical and chronic health issues as a rule. And, again, just smoke for the fun of it.
We have legal alcohol. It's controlled and it's regulated. And the average age of alcohol-induced coma at the hospital in our town is 13 years old.
Exactly, but you know what?
Okay, so what difference is it going to be making of legalizing and regulating cannabis? If kids want it, they're going to get it. The same as they can get alcohol and the same as they can get tobacco.
Most definitely.
I agree.
I had big booze and high heels and was buying liquor when I was 14 years old in the LCBO.
Yeah.
You know what? And again, I know a lot of people in the same position, but my point is the majority of the population we can at least protect, whether it be from themselves or from substances like this.
Why don't we protect them from substances like
what are we protecting them from?
Because they can get high off of nutmeg.
No, but not everybody can make the right decision.
What are we protecting them from? I'm lost on what we're protecting them from.
Well, it's not that we need to be told what to do. It's that we need to be told what we shouldn't do. So again, there are people that have serious addictions to drugs like heroin and methamphetamines, cocaine, you name it, because they were not educated in A, harm reduction techniques, and B, exactly what that substance entailed. So what we're trying to do is bring education along with legalization and let people know that there is a choice there and that, again, somebody will be taking control somewhere. That's what the world wants. The world does not want open-ended anything. I can guarantee you that. The majority of the people in this world are not okay with that.
Because the majority of the world are fed propaganda through mass media. And they don't know what they actually want.
There's no question that this is not going to happen overnight. I mean, just wiping it out and letting everybody do what they want is not the answer. We've gone through 100 years of prohibition and things drilled into our heads and generations after generation made to believe things that are not the truth. So nothing is going to happen overnight with this. But adult restrictions, including the growing of this plant, need to be removed for patients immediately. 100% immediately. I mean, I have a lineup of clients that come to me and say, okay, it's all great and dandy. You helped me get my prescription and everything, and you told me how to talk to my doctor, and I have secured my prescription, but I can't afford this LP. Medication. What am I supposed to do now? I'm not allowed to grow. And if I grow, I'm still afraid of being arrested by the police department. These restrictions need to come off so patients can access the medicine. If everybody is concerned about patients, that's the first step.
You know what, Kim? I honestly, just to let you know, and Electric Pig as well, and everybody else again, I don't think Justin Trudeau really had that in mind when he said and promised what he promised the country. Sorry, but I've always said this: liberal Tory, same old story.
And you know what? On that note, we're going to take a little break, and then I want to come back and we'll wrap things up, and Al can tell us what he's got in store for us on their first show Wednesday night. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday at 8 p.m., I believe, is what we're doing, and then it'll be rerun throughout the week as well. This is the 420 Radio Show, and we'll be right back.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not? Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
try to slow me down. Oh, no. My feet barely touch the ground. Yeah, yeah. I just need to spread my wings. The wind lifts the earth in the blue sky sing. Oh Lord, Lord, yeah. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. Don't try to get in my way. Oh no, you're just going to spoil my day. Oh yeah, I just want to run and play. The sun is shining, a smile sets upon my face. Oh Lord, Lord, yeah. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. All I wanna do. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. Woo! You gotta do what makes you feel good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go running like you probably should. Come on now, run, run, run. Children are playing and the birds are singing. Don't tweet, 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 so sweet, yeah. They fly on while we all sing, yeah. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. Hey, run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. Come on now, yeah. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run. Come on now, yeah. Run, 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 run. All I wanna do is run.
We'll be in the street.
One is that I stopped drinking alcohol after 30 some odd years of drinking way, way, way too much. And it'll be like 9 or 10 years that I've quit this year. I think 9 years this month. And, well, to be honest, the closest I've ever come to having a seizure was walking into the LCBO a year and a half or so ago. The colors, the lights, the flashing, the fancy.
Oh, for me it would be the
Honestly,
price.
I stood at the front of the store stunned. This girl kept coming up going, "Are you okay?" Because, like, she must have been able to see it in me.
Have you even seen the price of a good bottle of scotch?
I know.
Shit, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know where I stand personally on things. I know where I'd like to see it. But where I've gotten to at this point, and I do have this conversation over and over and over with other patients, from a perspective of a patient in Canada who's on disability for a very shitty ailment called ADHD. And really, I got two choices here. I got cannabis or Ritalin. So do I want to be known as a speed junkie, or do I want to be known as a pothead? People can say what they want about that word. I don't really give a shit. What I give a shit at this point in 2016, 2 weeks into 2016, is something's got to happen. I need to be able to get my meds, because right now I can't. I can't even afford to get my meds. But yet I could go and buy perks, or get them on my card at ODSP, and then turn around and sell them and then get my cannabis. But that would be breaking the law, wouldn't it? So I don't want to do that. But I do have the right here in Canada. We do have the right here in Canada to medicate with a thing called cannabis. And whichever way you choose to medicate with that, you do have to do it responsibly, as you would do with an aspirin or a bottle of gin. Now, saying that, next week, the Pace Radio Show starts their live shows here on LifestyleRadio.net. They will be joining us every week at Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to let Al do his little thing there with his thing and tell you what's going to happen over the next little while and all that stuff.
Okay, thanks, Al. Okay, yes, the Pace Radio Show will start 8 o'clock next Wednesday. Kim Cooper will be the first joint host who will be on the first show, and she has got a guest lined up by the name of Aaron and Chris Goodwin, and they have Good Weeds, a new vapor lounge in Toronto, and I'm sure Kim will have lots of questions to them on how they are operating, because I believe they're going to be a dispensary as well. So, like, can we show up and buy a couple grams and be able to medicate right there? Just like a person was going to buy a beer if they're at a bar.
Pretty much. That's the way they've got it set up. You can go in and buy a dab on site.
There you go, and we'll be able to learn more about how they're doing that, and as far as probably some of the information as far as weeds, gifts, and smokes, I believe is part of the owner of that, Kim.
Yep, that's correct. It's under the Weeds banner, and they're going to be opening a dispensary on the inside under the Weeds banner as well.
So we'll be talking to them on what they plan to do in the new lounge as far as entertainment and stuff like that. We'll also, during the show, we like to promote and highlight Canadian cannabis music. We use that kind of music as our bumpers, and that could be a band such as Killing Time Band, which is has our theme song, and we use other songs of theirs throughout the show. Ill Scarlet, Lay Mosquitoes, and others. The Hicks from British Columbia, some of their music will be involved. And we also have a few minutes of news before we bring our guests in, so we can give people a little bit of the latest news. Like, we don't spend a lot of time on it, but it still allows some information to get out. And we'll have a whole hour of conversation with the Goodwins on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, 8 to 9.
I actually met them before they were the Goodwins.
Yes, I met Chris, and Alison would know about this. Chris and the guys, they used to do some educational stuff such at the Hamilton Library, and Alison, I believe, was part of the panel. And so it was way back then. That was up before the Up and Smoke days, or about the same time as.
I was going to say before the Up and Smoke Cafe in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah. So Chris has got a history of being involved with the cafes. From being they were arrested for handing out 1,000 joints during a 420 down there.
He's done a lot with us.
Yes, exactly. So it'd be good to talk to them. A bit of history probably involved, and what's in the future.
Awesome. They are great people to sit and have a chat with. Us here at the 420 Radio Show, we're always looking for guests, as is the Pace Show. The Pace Radio Show, sorry. And if you got a story you want to tell, cannabis related, obviously, we're always looking for cannabis success stories. If you don't want to call and be on live, then please feel free to call us. The number's right on the website, and leave a message. And then if it's worthy, we'll play it on the air. If you want to call in live, we'll be doing that now and then too. Next week, I don't know do we have anything happening next week, guys? Lori? Marcel?
I'm aware of.
We'll figure it out.
I don't think we have anything lined up for next week. We were waiting to see how
we thought we were losing our time slot.
Yeah,
yeah. Some people from the Pace Radio Show are moving in or something. I heard.
Somebody brought up post way.
I got a message from Marcel saying, so like, are we fired?
I see somebody in the chat asked what the time zone was. Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, we do the shows.
And just so Deb and I, in the beginning, Deb's been with the Pace Radio Show since its interception, and our first year was live music, or not live music, but live conversation.
Yep.
And those bloopers and problems, the what we call it, the gremlins in the system. They all happen.
Yep. So we're Al and I and his angels have had a conversation, and we've got them all set up. We're going to do it similar to, technically, anyways, the way that we're doing this, and except for won't be saying much at all, really, which some people I'm sure will enjoy.
we have ours is a lot of interview and a lot of questions, so people get to learn who these people are.
Oh, I've been doing this for 8 years.
Everybody's got a story.
And I'm looking forward to actually working behind the scenes as opposed to
and
stuff like that.
This would be Kim's first show doing anything live. So I'm sure she's looking forward.
Virgin.
Second, because she's live now.
Oh yes. But she'll have lots to say come when she has a lot of airtime.
Oh yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. It's going to be a brand new experience for me, but I'm so looking forward to it. New experiences in life are always great.
Yes.
They help us all grow.
What was that, Deb?
Thank you.
And I know Kim will do fine.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Deb.
Yeah, and I know Alison, she's done live shows in the past.
You'll be great, Kim.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys, for the boost there.
The way I like
to say it. How's that, Kim?
The way I like to tell people, Kim, is as you guys have been sitting here with us for 2 hours. The way I do things here is we're having a conversation. You're all in my living room, and you're in my head, really, but you're all in my living room, and so you just have to think of it as a conversation with people that you like to have conversations with, and the rest just kind of irons itself out on its own. You'll be fine.
Awesome.
Sure. And Al, for next week, you did say something about cannabis for pets. How about we aim for that one?
I'd like to aim for that one. If you have a pet and you medicate with cannabis, please get a hold of me, or Lori, or Marcel.
Well, I know a fella, former joint host on the Pace Radio Show by the name of Stephen Ferenia.
Okay.
He had I believe he's got a pet cannabis and pet thing on Facebook.
Yes.
I'm a part of that. Yeah.
I'm actually a member of that group. So is Al now.
Yes.
I also have one. Yeah, I also have one on Facebook that a lady runs for me, Cannabis Oil for People and Pets, and it's part under the NOSER header.
Maybe you could share that with me, and then I'll put it on our wall. If anybody, and this goes for you folks too, if anybody has any links they want to share with us as far as information, we're always willing to post stuff. But I'll tell you flat out, if you're going to submit music, if it has that nasty little N-word in it in the first sentence, don't bother. And we like to joke around here on this show. We're hoping to get other shows going. They may not, but we do a different thing here. And if you'd like to be a part of it, just, like I said, get a hold of us. And why don't you, Lori, take it away.
Okay, so thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and here at the 420 Radio Show on Lifestyle Radio, for Marcel and Al and myself and the whole gang at Pace Radio, welcome to Lifestyle Radio, and have a blast, and yeah, enjoy.
Yeah, thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Lori.
And
Thanks, Lori. Thanks for having us on. It was great. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Alan. Once again, it's been an awesome night, everybody. You guys all totally rock, and we will make changes. Together, we will make a difference, I promise.
Absolutely.
Right on.
This has been an excellent show. It'll be ready for a podcast in about 10 minutes. As I said, Al is with his Angels are going to be doing his show Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on LifestyleRadio.net or .ca. We are a Canadian cannabis lifestyle radio station. We do run 24 hours. If you need some music in your life, hey, send me a note. I might play what you like. We're out of here for now.
Oh, love your playlist.
And we have one more from the Killin' Time Band. It is Friday, therefore it is a 3-day weekend. We'll be back next week. Thank you, folks. Enjoyed it immensely.
Totally did.
Totally. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Come on, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks,
See you
Electro.
in Internet Land.
All right, there you go.
It's Friday night, now I'm off to meet the boys. We're making our way up to the great Canadian North. Ah, those girls are fine, the party is great. Let's all get naked and jump in the lake. Open up some beers and burn up some meat.
like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not? I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website. Sounds like a cool website. Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it. You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The game ziplock, so we keep it so fresh. So relax your mind and puff away the stress. Pop in the paper jam, let your mind be free. I do it like no other, man, I gotta be me. Yo, I drop a couple tracks, then I'm on to the next one. I'ma smoke it up like this is my last blunt. I'm itching for the money, man, down to the bone. Spit crack on the mic, dope heads while roam. So, what you smoking on? I'm smoking something strong. Kush up in the blunt, hydro in the bone. Just to let you know we just getting started. Puffing on the smelly weed, man, it's like it's gon' farted. Joint sound good, but I'ma say fuck it. If you ask why, I'ma go and use the bucket. Got the weed lined up, yeah, blunts in the row. Been smoking so much, you would think I was Castro. So if I die today, then I live my life. Smoke a blow a nugget, General hot knife. But yeah, man, we smoking like no water. So I hit it, then I quit it, then I pass it to my brother. Got the game ziplock, so we keep it so fresh. So relax your mind and puff away the stress. Pop in the paper jam, let your mind be free. I do it like no other, man, I gotta be me. Got the game ziplock, so we keep it so fresh. So relax your mind and puff away the stress. Pop in the paper jam, let your mind be free. I do it like no other, man, I gotta be me. Speakers steady kicking like somebody died of in the trunk. Stepping out the hot box, smelling like a fucking skunk. Haze on my mind, got the munchies over time for lunch. I roll it up and split it, mix it up, and then I have a blunt. I don't rap, I get high and talk. Walk around with it lit, man, that's how I walk. With a joint in my hand and a lighter in another, and a pop in my pocket and a mask in the cupboard. Got the bong near the sink, just in case I need a drink. Numbers on speed dial in case I need a favor. My joints sort of shit, man, they coming out flavor. So hurry up, man, roll a blunt, let's get higher. Just bulk it up, man, don't you dare stim a lighter, cause I'm bulking up, don't ya? Weed smells good, uplifting aroma. Give me a minute, somebody got a lighter, can't break out the beast in my mind and block. So we keep it so fresh, so relax your mind and puff away the stress. Pop in the paper jam, let your mind be free. I do it like no other, man, I gotta be me. Got the game ziplock, so we keep it so fresh, so relax your mind and puff away the stress. Pop in the paper jam, let your mind be free. I do it like no other, man, I gotta be me.
You ever been to that point in your life